Vindication is oh so sweet. Not that we needed Michael Moore to vindicate us on the climate change skeptic slash denial side. Of course, we don't actually deny climate change because climate changes all the time. But we are skeptics in terms of the propaganda that is coming out from the mainstream media and the quote unquote scientists that talk about this all the time. So look, this is friggin' stunning. Stunning. Hey, let's read this. The AP dated August 8th, 2019. I just found this according to one of the blogs I read who cited this article. I said, this can't be true. And so I looked it up on AP, and sure enough, a new Michael Moore-backed documentary tackles alternative energy. I'm stunned by this. All right, so what if alternative energy isn't all it's cracked up to be? That's a provocative question explored in the documentary Planet of the Humans, which is backed and promoted by filmmaker Michael Moore and directed by one of his longtime collaborators. It premiered last week at the Traverse City Film Festival. The film, which does not have yet distribution, and I guarantee it won't, is a low-budget but piercing examination of what the filmmakers say are the false promises of the environmental movement and why we're still addicted to fossil fuels. Director Jeff Gibbs takes on electric cars, solar panels, windmills, biomass, biofuel, leading environmentalist groups like Sierra Club, and even figures from Al Gore and Van Jones, who served as Barack Obama's special advisor for green jobs, all the way to Bill McKibben, a leading environmentalist and a crazy man. That guy, if you read Bill McKibben, it's scary stuff. If that guy ever got power, it's freaking frightening. So Gibbs, who produced Bowling for Columbine and Fahrenheit 9/11, didn't set out to take on the environmental movement. He said he wanted to know why things weren't getting better. But when he started pulling on the thread, he and Moore said they were shocked to find out inextricably entangled all energy is with coal and natural gas, since they say everything from wind turbines to electric car charging stations are tethered to the grid. And even how two of the Koch brothers are tied to solar panel production through their glass production business. Hey, that's great. They're finally waking up, but how did you not know that? It turned out the wake-up call was about our own side, said Gibbs. It was kind of crushing to discover the things I believed in weren't real, first of all, and then to discover not only are the solar panels and wind turbines not going to save us, but they are also this dark side of the corporate money. It dawned on me that these technologies were just another profit center. Look, man, I love recent converts. I think it's great. I just thank goodness these guys they solved the world for what it is. Both know the film was going to be a tough pill to swallow. It's a difficult eye-opener for them as well. We all want to feel good about something like the electric car, but in the back of your head somewhere you thought, yeah, but where's that electricity coming from? And it's like, I don't want to think about that. I'm just glad we have electric cars, said Mike. This is Michael Moore. Michael Moore said, I passed by the windmill farms, and oh, it's so beautiful to see them going, and don't tell me that we've gone too far now and it isn't going to save us. Well, my feeling is just hit me with everything. I'm just like, let's deal with it now all at once. And wind farms are not beautiful. That's all there is to it. They're ugly. They don't work as advertised. They're harmful. We're sold as bill of goods, and yet the wind farm production company are making bank on our gullibility and lack of just desire to know the truth. So kudos to Michael Moore for figuring this out. It's part of the reason why they had to make it up independently. Make it independently, the movie. It's part of the reason why they had to make it independently, because they knew it was going to be tough for their own side, the left, to be able to deal with the reality of it. Gibbs said he tried for years to get an environmental group on board to help offset the costs, only to be turned down at every door. He was further disheartened when in the film he approaches people like Van Jones, Bill McKibben, and a local Sierra Club leader and asks them about their stance on biofuel and biomass. Remember what biomass is? Biomass, like wood and garbage, can be used to produce heat and is considered a renewable source of energy. It can also be converted to gas or liquid biofuels that can be burned for energy. That's why I can't wait to learn how to make this gasifier. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. He finds everyone, that'd be McKibben, Van Jones, Sierra Club leaders, ill-prepared to comment on their stance about the biomass process, which the documentary says requires cutting down enormous numbers of trees to produce the wood chips that are converted into energy. Neither Jones or McKibben respond to requests from comment from the AP. Isn't that funny? Bill McKibben, a media hound, won't respond to requests from the AP saying, hey, because they haven't had to, they've never been challenged. Al Gore never was challenged. So remember, biomass. So what's the UK doing? I've said this a million times a Sunday. They're so keen on showing their green energy chops with renewables, cutting down virgin forests in North Carolina and Canada, shipping it via boat that is not charged electrically. Even if it were, it's still got to take energy someplace. I'm not one of these guys that says electric EVs, electric vehicles, use the same as fossil fuels. I mean, it is getting its electricity from fossil fuels. I get that, but at the end of the day, it's less of a load than a fossil fuel that would charge your gallons of gasoline. If you look at my man Jason over at Engineering Explained, he did a real good video on that and showed the actual numbers behind it. Electric vehicles still use electricity, don't get me wrong. It's just not the same when you factor in all the costs and all the time and energy and effort that goes into it. It's definitely less of a burden on the, I hate to say the grid, but the grid to produce the electricity to charge an EV electric vehicle than it is to have a gallon of gasoline. That doesn't mean, but without question, a lot of people say it's electric. It just shows up. It's still got to be, the electricity still got to be produced from something. It's produced by fossil fuels or nuclear. Anyway, so in UK, they have all these, we look at our electricity, 40% is renewable. Well, the biomass is from boats shipping a forest cut from North Carolina and Canada to the UK, where they cut down all these massive amounts of trees, all right, and on top of that, they're shipping it via boats, which aren't run on battery power. It's run on good old-fashioned fossil fuels. It's just the whole thing is such a scam, my friends. It's such a freaking scam. So once you pull back the curtain, you realize like these are all guys just trying to make bank. Bill McKibben jumps out absolutely. I mean, that guy's just a monster, and yet he's making bank, selling this stuff. And same with Bill Nye the Science Guy. These guys are just they're literally they're using your gullibility and desire for change to do good things to get rich is what they're doing. It's frightening. It's frightening. Demagogues, without question. Anyway, so my man Gibbs finds everyone. Oh, we already talked about that. And then Michael Moore says, I like so many people in the film, and I'm one of those. I like so many people in the film, and I'm one of those people who wanted to believe all these years that we were on the right path. But I refuse to let us die out, and I refuse to let this planet die. There were even Gibbs and Moore were even nervous to show it to the festival crowd, where they expected maybe a 50-50 response. Instead, they got a standing ovation, and there were even members of the Sierra Club there. It's up to the people to actually share the same values, to sometimes call each other out and bring out the uncomfortable truths, says Gibbs. This is not a film by climate change deniers. This is a film by people who really care about the environment. Although the findings will be disheartening, both Gibbs and Moore said they hope that inspires people to reset and start thinking differently. Now we can begin to come up with the right solutions that might make a difference. The film doesn't have the answers, but it'll get us asking a better set of questions. I really do trust that when millions of people are discussing an issue, answers will emerge. That is what we do with humans. We solve problems, but we've got to ask the right questions. And again, there are no climate change deniers. None. There's no one on my side who's a climate change denier. We are, we absolutely, because if you believe in history, the truthfulness of it, you'll say, we had the medieval warm period, we had the little ice age, we had the 1930s, we had the 70s. So we know for a fact that climate changes. The question is why? Be it CO2 caused by human beings, which I don't believe it does, and even if it were, is that CO2 caused by human beings bad? I mean, so you gotta ask all these questions, and we don't deny that the climate changes. No one does. But then why? And if it's changing because of human beings, is that actually a bad change? And that's the things you got to answer. So it's silliness to see the climate change deniers. Nah. Anyway, this is fun. This is fundamental, a huge change. I'm excited that reality. Oh, let me show you a book. Here, I'm going to share something with you. Hold on a second. I share this book from Mike Bond called Killing Maine. He talks about the evils of the wind turbine industry and how it is literally a profit center for many of the pushers who are pushing you to be gullible. If we only had more wind turbines, it'd all be good. And Bond is not a right-wing climate change denier, whatever the heck that is. It's good. It's a wonderful book. I read it. Highly suggest you read. I'll put a link to the show notes. So if you buy it through me, I get paid big bucks, and your job is to make me rich. Rich, I tell you. But it's just a great book. I mean, because look, at the end of the day, you can read. I mean, I got tons of books on there, back there on energy, alternative energy. Just tons of books on it. But sometimes a fiction book, a novel, is easier to read to understand what's going on with the various aspects of the industry. Um, Anyways, I just can't recommend this enough. This book, so definitely get it. I think you'll like it a lot. So, all right, it's great to see. I change. I mean, just I. Sometimes you got to take your wins and smile and say, "This is great." Maybe we're getting beyond the insanity of the Green New Deal stuff, and maybe we're starting to get in reality, which is wind turbines, solar PV panels, biomass isn't going to solve the issues that we have. And if we are concerned, what are we going to do about it in a reality way, as opposed to just virtue signaling, because that doesn't get the job done. All right, so subscribe, smash. We'll see you next time, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications.